Let Korah keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. Money Sense is brought to you by the Chamber Pension Plan. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is kicking off the new year with a new website to better serve our members and a new administrator's agent that will help fulfill our vision for your pension plan. Our website, chamberpension.ky, features improved web services like a real-time chat to help answer your questions quicker and audio tips to help you plan for your retirement savings arrangement. Our new administrator's agent, Saxon Administration Limited, will benefit members through enhanced systems and IT services, allowing for a greater customer service experience. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Money Sense, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community.
Inversion. Inversion. What is that? You may have heard of it, at least in passing, in your financial media, in your business press. It sounds a little bit off-putting, like something's wrong, like it's upside down. Something's off-kiltered. And indeed, in economic terms, when we experience or witness an inversion, it means several things. It means that markets believe that there is a recession out in front of us in some reasonably close time period. We'll discuss exactly what kind of time period that is. And perhaps more importantly, it says that the markets disagree with the authorities, the people in charge, the people that are saying, let's say at our central banks, they're saying, or the politicians, they're saying, the business press itself, they're saying, we believe things are good. And the market is saying, no, we are going to invert from your point of view, and we think something is wrong. My name's Emil Kalinowski, and you're listening to Money Sense, broadcasting to you live from the studios of Radio Cayman on 89.9 in Grand Cayman and 93.9 in the Sister Islands, Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, much more excitingly, we're also on YouTube. Yes, go to the Radio Cayman site, channel on YouTube, and you'll be able to see me all alone. Well, I'm not all alone, ladies and gentlemen, I'm with you today. So let's talk about inversion. Inversion, first of all, comes to us from the bond market. Now, whenever we're asking people, well, how did the market do today? We ask our grocer, we ask our driver from the airport, or people on the street, how did the market do today? Well, we're always asking, referring to the stock market. That's what seems to be in the mainstream media. That's what the good news is, usually from the stock market, but this is from the bond market. Now, the stock market is a happy place. Rainbows, cotton candy, gumdrops coming down from the sky. That's the kind of place the stock market is. The bond market is a much more serious place. The stock market is about hope, about the future, about this company growing and earning more money and paying you dividends and appreciating in share prices. But the bond market, that's where all the curmudgeons are. That's where they're not so much interested in capital gains, but the return of their principal. They lent these companies money, and they expect to be paid back with interest. And so these are much more serious investors, and it is from the bond market that the inversion comes. So I just wanted to paint that picture for you, that we are getting a message from the serious capital market, not the happy-go-lucky stock market. Okay? And this occurred, let's see, I believe it was in the 1980s when a researcher wasn't invited to a party, and he said, well, what am I going to do on this Saturday night? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to look into which capital markets predict economic activity in the future. And I think we would have all been surprised at that time, and I remember that the researcher was, that it wasn't the stock market. Because that's what I think we were all taught when we were growing up, is that the stock market considers how this company is doing, and if you add together all the companies, it should reflect what is happening in the broader economy. But it turned out this researcher discovered, no, the stock market was not a good predictor of recessions when economic activity slows for some period of time and actually contracts. That's what he was looking to determine. And he said, well, is there another kind of capital market out there? And as I have been suggesting, yes, the much more serious bond market is a good predictor of recessions. But how do you, if stocks, the prices are either up or down. In the bond market, is there some other kind of measure? Not necessarily is our bond prices up or down. Is there another measure that will tell us about economic activity in the future? And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is something called the yield curve. Let's first define what yield is. Yield is how much interest you are receiving on your loan. You, the bank, you, the pension plan, you, the investor, have lent money to company ABC or government XYZ, and you didn't do it out of the kindness of your heart, even though you're a very nice person. But no, you expect to have some sort of return, and that return is the yield. So you're being paid interest on the principal that you loaned out, and that is the yield. Now, the yield curve is exactly that, what we just said, yield, but over different time periods. So, let's say I lent money to the American government. Not that they need it. I'm joking. Who's in more debt? Well, me. But other than me, the American government. Let's say I lent some money to the American government. I can lend it to them for 3 months. Actually, I can lend it to them for, 4 weeks, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Each of those have a yield. And I think that you don't have to go to Harvard or Yale or Arizona State University. One of those is not like the other, but that's the one I went to. You don't have to go to those fancy pants schools to realize that if I lend you money for 1 week, that the yield, the return, should not be as high as the yield on a loan for 30 years, right? The 30-year loan should be, let's say 5%, whereas the yield on a 4-week loan should be 1%, 0.5%, 0.25%. Let's actually look it up right now. We're going to go to the interwebs, and on the interwebs right now, the United States yield for a 4-week loan is 16 basis points, so that's less than 1%, 0.16%. But for 30 years, it's 2.65%, ladies and gentlemen. So the yield curve is upward sloping. You see, the short-term, immediate return on your money should be very small risk, very small return on interest rates, very small yield. Whereas 30 years from now, who knows who will be leading the country in the United States, or who knows who will be running the company, or if the company will even exist. And so you expect a lot more return. Okay, so there you go. So an upward sloping yield curve, that's what we should be expecting. That's what exists essentially all of the time, ladies and gentlemen, except in certain moments when those long-term yields fall below the short-term yields. Inversion. Now, if you feel that this is an unnatural state, then you are correct. There is something wrong here. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is upside down. It is an inversion. Why would someone be willing to take less money over a 30-year time period, or 20, or 10, or 9, or 8, or 7, than something very short-term, like 3 months? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about right now. That is the yield curve inversion. That means the market is saying something in distinction to the authorities. And what it is recession. And recently, ladies and gentlemen, we've had 2 yield curves invert. 2 of them. The first one inverted on December 1st, 2021, and it is called the Eurodollar futures yield curve. We don't have to get into the fancy pants stuff as to what Eurodollar futures are, but whereas a sovereign bond yield for the United States is the U.S. Treasury curve and is specific to the United States, the Eurodollar futures, as the name sort of hints at, is to the global monetary order. It is about short-term interest rates and where people believe short-term interest rates will be today, 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years, 4, 5 years, 6, 7, all the way out into the future. And what we saw on December 1st is that these longer-term time periods inverted, and they started heading down below the short-term interest rates, the near ones, the ones that are going to be happening very soon. And what does that mean? Literally what that means is that the market, and this market, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest futures market, which is a kind of market like bonds, like equities, but a little bit different, and it's more focused on the future. I guess they're all focused on the future, isn't it? Well, it's even more focused and specific towards what will be happening at a future time period. Okay, so anyways, this Eurodollar futures market said it's the deepest futures market in the world, very sophisticated. It has to do with global dollar funding. And ladies and gentlemen, that means it's supplying to the world. And it inverted on December 1st. And you may think, big deal. Big deal. I was looking forward to Christmas. I don't care about the Eurodollar futures curve. Ladies and gentlemen, would you be surprised to learn that it inverted in the middle of 2018, predicting a global economic slowdown, global economic disorder? Did we experience global economic disorder and slowdown and upheaval? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Slowing throughout 2018, 2019, and by 2020, we had a terrible, terrible shock. Eurodollar futures said, we don't like the cut of this macroeconomic jib. We're worried about the future, and it came true. When else did this happen? 2006. 2006. For those of you that have lives and go out and have fun and don't stay at home and look through macroeconomic reports of the past, you may not know, but in 2008 there was a global financial crisis. So again, in 2006, Eurodollar futures correctly predicted disorder, malfunction, upheaval. It happened before as well. We saw it in 2000. The United States had a dot-com recession. And now I'm going off of memory, but I believe it also happened in the 1990s, late 1990s. I'm going to withdraw that. I'm not 100% sure about that. I think it had to do with the Asian financial crisis. But the point, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is a deep, sophisticated market that has to do with short-term funding on a global basis, and it inverted on December 1st, warning us. Maybe we could ignore it. Big deal. One market. But there was another market that inverted not too long afterwards, corroborating what the global market was saying. This one has to do with the United States. And after the break, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about this market which inverted, the yield curve that inverted, what it means to you, that it is suggesting economic disorder, malfunction, and perhaps, again, most importantly, that it signals disagreement with the authorities, the central bankers, the politicians, the financial media that are saying everything is hunky-dory. No, this deep, sophisticated market is saying, look out, we're worried. Well, in case we're still on the air, and we did.
As the longest established pensions plan in the Cayman Islands, the Chamber Pension Plan looks forward to delivering the same strong performance for our members, but now in a new location. As of March 1st, our new pensions operation office is located at 14 Saturn Close, Eastern Avenue, the same building as our new administrator's agent, Saxon Administration Limited. A dedicated and experienced team will be assigned to the Chamber Pension Plan. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. New location, new administrator's agent, new customer service, same strong performance.
Money Sense, the only personal finance radio show in the Cayman Islands, hosted by Simon Caudry from the CFA Society Cayman Islands.
This is Money Sense.
Welcome back to Money Sense. I am not Simon Caudry. Thank goodness, right? He must be sleeping in beauty rest. He's very handsome, and he needs to sleep in so that he'll look fantastic. Enough jokes at Simon's expense. My name is Emil Kalinowski. We're on YouTube as well. You can join us at the YouTube channel for Radio Cayman. Just join us live, not just for this show, but all the other fantastic shows throughout the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Inversion. At first, when I heard about Inversion, I thought it was a sequel to that Christopher Nolan movie with that one actor that I'm often compared to, Leonardo DiCaprio. Remember Inception? But no, it is not. It is not that, ladies and gentlemen. It has to do with the bond market. It has to do with the bond market warning us as economic actors that there is disorder, trouble, concern, possibly recession ahead of us. Now, in the first half of the show, we discussed what the yield curve is, basically a measure of return, an interest rate return for one particular time period. And a curve is looking at those yields on your bonds over many time periods, from short to long, and the slope, the direction of that yield curve should be small return for immediate tomorrow, 1 week loans, to much larger yields over a 30-year time period. And again, ladies and gentlemen, the concern is that this will lead to economic disorder if there's an inversion, if the long-term yields suddenly start returning less than the short-term yields. How can this be? Okay, in the first half of the show, we also talked about the Eurodollar futures market, which is a global financial market for short-term funding, and that one inverted in December 1st, 2021, and we discussed how this market has had a great track record in predicting financial crisis. It did so 2018, predicting disorder that would come in 2020. It did so in 2006, predicting the disorder that would come, global financial crisis, in 2008, and it's inverted again. Can we ignore it? Maybe. I like to ignore problems and go la 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 la, and then they hope they go away. But as financial market participants, perhaps we shouldn't be doing that. Also, as economic actors, we're concerned about how our pensions are doing, how our companies are doing. Will they be earning enough revenue? Is our employment at risk? Well, in the United States, that's a concern for many people, because just these past 2 weeks, the financial media has been announcing that the U.S. Treasury curve — Treasuries, by the way, are the names of the obligations, the debts that the U.S. government owes. So the U.S. Treasury market has inverted. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that the financial media was silent when the Eurodollar futures curve inverted. And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. Okay, but finally they got around to saying, have you guys noticed that this yield curve has inverted in the U.S. Treasury market? Now, let me just read out some numbers to you, which I know is great for ratings on radio, but just so you have an idea of what's going on. Right now, the 10-year U.S. Treasury is yielding 2.64%. Okay? The U.S. 5-year is yielding 2.67, more. The U.S. 7-year, 2.69. The 3-year, 2.64, identical. Now, 2 weeks ago, the 2-year note was yielding more as well than the 10-year. Right now, it's yielding less, 2.45%. When the 2-year note was yielding more than the 10-year bond, that's when the financial media jumped on this story and said, "Dear Chairman Powell, dear authorities, have you noticed this? What do you think of this?" And the Federal Reserve Chairman said, "Well, I only look at the first 2 years. I don't look at what's beyond the 2-year note." I'm not exaggerating. That's what he said. Well, we don't have to rely on him, ladies and gentlemen, because there have been studies, there have been research reports, analyses that have found that this is a excellent predictor. In fact, it is undefeated since World War II. Undefeated in predicting recession in the United States, the world's largest economy, and of course our not too distant neighbor. So here we are again. Another recession is predicted by this serious bond market. It corroborates what the global system is telling us as well from the Eurodollar futures, as well as other measures. How soon? Is it going to be tomorrow? Maybe Saturday? Well, going back through time and looking at the results over the last 4 generations, we see that the timing is between several months and a couple of years. So let's say less than 2 years to more than 3 months. We won't know. But basically there should be concern that should be raised regarding what the economic future ahead is like. Now, some people who like to defend the status quo and the authorities will say, well, there's lots of different points that we can be looking at along the yield curve, and the authoritative one, the original one, is the 3-month yield versus the 10-year. And indeed it was, ladies and gentlemen, when the first research report was done on this, the first discovery of this predictive value, it was based on the 3-month yield versus the 10-year. And the 3-month is yielding, let me take a look, 0.68%, which is way, way lower than the 2.631% of the 10-year. So maybe we should ignore this. Maybe we shouldn't care about this yield curve inversion. No, ladies and gentlemen, that is a last-second warning. When the 3-month is above the 10-year, that is last second. That means you are about to step in it. Okay, that's not the kind of warning we need. The 2-year offers a nice, more useful prediction, where it gives you several months to less to 24 months of warning, whereas the 10-year 3-month is, okay, well, it could happen on Saturday, or more likely the recession's already happened. Okay, but here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most exciting part about today's discussion. Why does it even invert? Why do we even have these inversions, ladies and gentlemen? Why is it that the short-term yields are stuck up high while the long-term yields are falling? Because that's what happens, right? Right now, the U.S. 10-year yield, 2.65%, 2.64%, and it's going to be falling, or it was falling relative to the 3-month. That's the one that's moving. Why isn't the 3-month moving? And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's back to the authorities, the central bankers. The long-term yields are controlled by you and I, by the markets, by the economy. The real future of economic activity return, inflation, all that's the real economic outlook. We believe that over the next 10 years, you need this sort of return. This is the safest, most liquid instrument, and the real economy needs to return more than 2.65%. That's what the long-term yields are, the real economy. The short term is controlled by a select few individuals. Okay, so we're comparing a select few individuals, technocrats at central banks, compared to the broad, distributed, worldwide market with trillions of dollars invested, compared to no money invested at the short term, controlled by a few technocrats who have all the foibles that all of us have of human character and political pressure and, ego. What else? The desire to advance at their job, or also public service. All of those different streams and conflicts and interests that all of us have and try to manage as best as we can. But that is taking place within a select few individuals, let's say 12 people in the United States, who set the short-term interest rate. They set it. And so when the U.S. Treasury short-term 3-month yield is at 0.68%, that is a reflection of what the Federal Reserve or any other central bank in their particular respective jurisdiction believes the interest rate should be. Are they correct? Are they correct? I suppose some of the time they are and some of the time they aren't. But when they aren't, when they're very wrong, that's when we see inversion, because they're stubborn. They refuse to change. That's what's happening. They look out at the market and they have said, we believe the economy is good. And they say their names. They say, I am Jerome Powell. I am Lael Brainerd. I am Emil Kalinowski. And I am putting my reputation, my professional credentials, my future income as a consultant, or I don't know what else they hope to do after they finish their government service, as an author, as someone I want to sell books to the mass public. I know what I'm doing, they say. Look at us. We have credentials. We went to the best schools like Harvard and Arizona State University, which is where I went to. And we believe the interest rate should be this number because the economy is healthy and it's great. And the news comes in. The data comes in. It's not a surprise, these inversions. The news comes in. No, the economy is not good. There's not enough money in the economy. There's not enough people being employed, and the long-term yields start falling. And what do the authorities do? They're stubborn. They say, no, I'm not going to change my mind. In fact, I'm going to project more confidence and happiness and certainty about the economic future. I'm not going to change. I know, I suppose I'm coming off as harsh, but it's not harsh, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen this story repeated over and over and over since the end of World War II, when the Federal Reserve gained such prominence in the economic activities future of the United States and around the world, other central banks. And we've seen this story over and over. They are too slow to change, too stubborn. What holds them back? I suppose it's hubris. We can't be too upset with them, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we all suffer from it. Thankfully, we have a distributed economic system whereby we can turn to other economic actors for advice on the future, and that's what the yield curve inversion does. It says, yes, you, the authorities, believe the future is healthy and bright, but we do not. And our track record is much better than yours for the last 4 generations. And it's corroborated by these other markets as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, That's what inversion is. That's what it is, and that's what they've been talking about in the financial press. I've enjoyed my time with you, and I can't wait to talk to you again in a fortnight. Please do send emails if you have any complaints or questions to moneysense@cndw.ky and on Twitter @MoneySenseRadio. My name is Emil. I'll talk to you again in a fortnight.
Money Sense is brought to you by the Chamber Pension Plan. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan is kicking off the new year with a new website to better serve our members and a new administrator's agent that will help fulfill our vision for your pension plan. Our website, chamberpension.ky, features improved web services like a real-time chat to help answer your questions quicker and audio tips to help you plan for your retirement savings arrangement. Our new administrator's agent, Saxon Administration Limited, will benefit members through enhanced systems and IT services, allowing for a greater customer service experience. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Good morning, and studio time by Foster's is a minute after 8.
This Easter, make it all about eating better with Foster's.
Make it easy with our all-new Easter dinners, prepared fresh by our deli team.
First, choose your main from Escovitch snapper, Cayman-style beef, maple glazed ham, and smoked jerk pork shoulder.
Then customize it with your choice of sides and desserts. Plus, every order comes with dinner rolls and coleslaw.
And the best part? All you need to do is serve and enjoy.
Order yours online from $94.99 at fosters.ky/Easter.
This Easter, make it Foster's. Better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Public Health has issued the COVID-19 situational report for epidemiological week 13, which covers the period March 27th through April 2nd. During that period, there were 288 new cases of COVID-19 reported by Public Health. This is 22 more than were reported the previous week. Epidemiological week 13 saw 7 inpatients admitted to the hospital. Of these, 33% were vaccinated. Cayman residents get an opportunity to pay their last respects for a parliamentary icon. CIG-TV's Donna Bush reports.
The official funeral for Mr. Benson O. Ebanks, OBE, will take place this coming Friday, April the 8th at 3 p.m. at the John Gray Memorial Church at West Bay near the four-way stop. Now, Mr. Ebanks is a well-known and distinguished former member of the Legislative Assembly, now Parliament. In observance of his passing and official funeral, the Cayman Islands flag is to fly at half-mast through to Friday. Now, the flags will be flown at half-mast in all government buildings, entities, and schools during normal business hours. You can also watch the official lying in state for the 7th of April at 9 a.m. and on Friday from 2:30 p.m. right here on CIG television.
And the Economics and Statistics Office launches its annual business survey on Monday to measure the 2021 economic performance of industries in the Cayman Islands. Survey forms will be mailed or emailed to all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The survey will gather data for the System of National Accounts, which estimates the total value of goods and services produced by different industries locally. It will also gather data for the Balance of Payments BOP, which measures the total payments of residents to and receipts from the rest of the world. Survey forms can be found online at eso.ky. In regional news, authorities in Haiti have arrested a prison director, a police officer, and a court clerk accused of releasing a gang leader in exchange for bribes. Police are now searching for an alleged gang leader known as Tisami, who was released over the weekend from a prison in the north coastal city, according to a prosecutor in Haiti. He said the investigation is ongoing and that more people might be involved. The fugitive suspect faces charges including murder and possession of illegal weapons. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Debbie Russ. Ukraine's Foreign Minister, Dmytro Kuleba, is attending a meeting of NATO foreign ministers in Brussels, where he's requesting more weapons to fight invading Russian forces